The 2010 season began with new faces playing key roles for the Western Michigan football program. By the end of the year, the Broncos had set 7 different team and individual single-season records, won the final 3 games of the season for the first time since 1998, and became bowl eligible for the 3rd time in the past 5 seasons. The Bronco offense welcomed a new signal caller under center in the form of redshirt sophomore Alex Carter. The Shawnee, Kansas native started every game of the 2010 season and did not disappoint Bronco fans as he became only the 3rd quarterback in program history to not only throw for over 3,000 yards, but also throw 30 touchdowns in a season.
4 wide, the back is Fields. Carter has all day to throw. He's going deep for Jordan White. He's wide open. He's got it. To the 20, to the 15, 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Western Michigan. Jordan White from Alex Carter on the bomb.
Carter registered 4 300-yard passing games, including a 403-yard performance against Toledo, in a game where he completed a school record 43 of 64 passes. He recorded 7 multi-touchdown games in 2010, throwing 4 touchdowns in a game 4 times and 5 in a game twice. The sophomore added the element of the run from the quarterback position, rushing for 6 touchdowns. When it was all said and done, Carter would finish the season tops in the Mid-American Conference with 296.7 yards of total offense per game, and setting a Western Michigan record with 567 total plays in 2010. 2 of Carter's top targets this season end the year as the most prolific receiving tandem in program history. Juan Nunez and Jordan White accounted for 70.3% of the receiving yards, 62.1% of the receptions, and 66.7% of the aerial touchdowns this season. The duo also became the only receivers in either program or MAC history to each finish the year with over 90 receptions and 10 touchdowns, and became the first receiving tandem with 2 1,000-yard seasons since Greg Jennings and Kendrick Mosley in 2003.
Slot left is White. Wide left Arnheim. To the right side is Nunez. He's got man coverage over here on the right side to see if Carter goes to him. Back to throw. Alex going to throw the fade into the end zone to Juan Nunez for the touchdown. Touchdown, Western Michigan. Juan Nunez with a touchdown. The Broncos lead it 40-7. And there's your 1,000 yards for Juan on his 10th touchdown.
Jordan White, a 2010 Bolitnikoff semifinalist, placed himself at the top of the heap when it comes to receiving yards in a season at Western Michigan, eclipsing the single-season record with 1,378 yards. He also recorded more 100-yard receiving games in a year than any other Bronco wideout with 7. Juan Nunez became the 9th Bronco receiver to reach 1,000 yards in a season, finishing with 1,032 yards. The senior had 5 100-yard receiving games of his own, including a 192-yard effort against Akron, the 4th most in a game in program history. Nunez leads the Western Michigan football program with 190 catches and 2,337 receiving yards, ranking 4th and 5th for a career in those respective categories. On the ground, the Broncos handed the ball off to a junior and 4 freshmen for the bulk of the year. A Western Michigan running back rushed for over 100 yards in each of the last 3 games of the season, with Brian Fields reaching the centennial mark against Eastern Michigan and Kent State, and Tevin Drake going over 100 yards against Kent State and Bowling Green. The Broncos were the only team to have a running back go over 100 yards in a game against the Golden Flashes defense, which boasted the 3rd best rushing defense in the country. WMU rushed for over 100 yards as a team 6 times in 2010, including over 150 yards in each of the last 4 games of the year. Western Michigan posted 200-yard rushing efforts against Ball State and Kent State and tallied 18 rushing touchdowns. That total, along with 30 passing touchdowns, a kick return for a score by Dervon Wallace, and defensive scores by Lewis Toller and Trevante Bowles, gave Western Michigan 51 total touchdowns, the most in a season in school history. Touchdowns weren't the only way the Broncos put points on the board in 2010. The Western Michigan kicking game accounted for 86 of the team's 388 points. John Potter booted 10 field goals in a season for the third time in his career. And the junior set a new standard in consistency, making good on a school record 50 consecutive extra points.
Broncos came up with a goal line stand at Akron earlier in the year. This is 4th and goal at the 2. Backs are in the eye. Keith under center. Gives it to Jarvis. He stopped at the 1. Goal line stand, Western Michigan.
Defensively, the Broncos were not the kindest to opponents, registering 30 takeaways in 2010, with 15 interceptions and 15 fumble recoveries. Western Michigan had at least one takeaway in every game this season, registering multiple takeaways in 10 out of 12 games. Lewis Toller and Mario Armstrong led the way with 5 interceptions apiece, and Toller was tops with 3 fumble recoveries. The redshirt freshman led the Mid-American Conference in passes defended with a team-best 9 breakups to go along with his 5 picks.
True freshman quarterback Keith Wenning in the shotgun, throws it right to Lewis Toller, picks it off at the 20, runs it in for the touchdown. Pick 6, Lewis Toller. Broncos come with a blitz up the middle. It's thrown over the middle and intercepted by Mario Armstrong at the 10. Mario's to the 20, he's to the 30, cuts it back to the 41-yard line. Mario Armstrong with the interception, his 5th pick of the season.
Western Michigan also boasted 2 defenders with over 90 tackles in 2010, with Mitch Zajac and Jamel Berry leading the way with 97 and 94 stops respectively. A trio of Broncos, including Berry, did most of their work behind the line of scrimmage. Dex Jones led the team with 12.5 tackles for loss, followed by Paul Hazel's 12 and Berry's 9. Hazel also led the team and ranked 3rd in the MAC with 8 sacks on the season. The football program said goodbye to a trio of offensive linemen in Nick Clemens, Nick Mitchell, and 2010 academic All-American Phil Swanson that combined for 111 career starts and were members of an offensive line that blocked for 1,000-yard running backs twice for only the 2nd time in program history. Despite their departure, Western Michigan loses only 3 other starters between offense and defense heading into next season. To say the Broncos are well equipped for a run at a Mid-American Conference title is an understatement. They're loaded at every skill position on both sides of the ball and are ready for 2011. Western Michigan plays in some of the premier venues in all of college football, and the Broncos take on many of the top programs in the country. Since the 2005 season, the Broncos have faced Big Ten opponents Michigan, Michigan State, Indiana, Iowa, and Illinois. Cincinnati and West Virginia from the Big East Conference. Big 12 opponents Missouri and Nebraska. ACC teams Virginia and Florida State. And this past season, the Broncos played the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. In 2011, the Broncos travel back to Michigan to meet the Wolverines in the Big House. They'll also take on Illinois and defending Big East champion UConn. No matter where the Western Michigan football team travels, it does so in style. On road trips, the entire team loads onto 3 charter buses equipped with power outlets, wireless internet, flat-screen televisions, and a DVD player. On flight trips, Western Michigan travels on JetBlue charter planes to its destination. The Broncos arrive at their hotel in time to sit down for a 4-course meal, followed by voluntary chapel services and a snack later in the evening. On game day, it's all business. Depending on whether the team is playing an early, late afternoon, or night game, after the wake-up call, the Broncos either head right to positional meetings or head to breakfast to get their engines going. Meetings and walk-through at the hotel take anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, and then it's time to hit the training rooms set up in the hotel to get taped for the game. The team meets one last time with head coach Bill Cubitt. This is a time when the players are deeply focused on the task at hand. And once the meeting is over, the team heads to the buses in silent unison. The Western Michigan football program has been a great stepping stone to the National Football League. Currently, there are 5 former Bronco players, all playing key roles on their respective NFL teams. Greg Jennings with the Green Bay Packers. Jason Babin with the Tennessee Titans. Tony Shepler with the Detroit Lions. Louis Dalmas with the Detroit Lions. E.J. Biggers of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And for the first time in Western Michigan history, 2 Broncos have been selected to the Pro Bowl in the same year. Jason Babin in the AFC and Greg Jennings in the NFC, while Louis Dalmas was named an NFC Pro Bowl alternate.